everybody, welcome back to my channel. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. Today I want to talk about comprehensively about shadow work. I get asked this, if not daily at this point, the last month or so, weekly. A couple times a week I get asked by people, I've forgotten how to do my shadow work. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do this, but I want to do it. I'm also afraid to do it. So I've made some videos before, but they're nothing like this. We're going to take a very comprehensive look into this. So, sit back. We're going to cover shadow work in a lot of different forms. Okay, a lot of different ways. There aren't that many ways to do shadow work though. Let's just cover that, okay? It's not some rabbit hole that you have to search down to figure it out. So by the end of this, you'll have it. Grab pen and paper and then write down any questions and put them in the comments after the video. All right, here we go. So what is shadow work? All right. Shadow work is the practice of working through and learning forgiveness. So working through those emotions that you push down for another day. That trauma that you experienced in childhood. You push that down. You don't have time to deal with it. Or maybe you tried to heal from it. You went to therapy and it just didn't work for you. I am a big advocate for therapy. I love the combination of which has worked for me is therapy, Reiki, and shadow work. It's like a triangle effect. Those three together create this force of healing, and it's like you can rely on one. When one gets too much, you can go to the other and do that one a little bit. And like that. So think of that as the trifecta of the shadow work. Okay, so I wish I was tech savvy, because in the video I would put my hands up like this and go bada bump, bada bump, bada bump. But what you see is what you get. If you're new here, I wear the mask because I had a dental surgery, and until it's fixed, which I'm a veteran, going through the VA and getting help that way takes a long time, but I am getting closer to the end of the journey, so stick around anyway. Don't mind the mask. Doop, doop. All right, so shadow work is also the process of transmuting, like everything, your fear, your pain, your anger, your rage, that shadow part of us, that part of us that we keep hidden, that we may not tell anybody about. Some of us experience extreme rage, and we get triggered by things and by people, and it's like a snap. However, we immediately try to bury it. And when we bury things, guys, what we're doing is we're not acknowledging and honoring how we feel, okay? Think of yourself as an onion, okay? And you're healing as an onion. So you will heal some parts of you, and then you'll realize that you peeled off some of the layers to get to just you without all the pain, right? And so then you'll realize, oh crap, I have another layer I have to work through. Shadow work is the process of transmuting all of those layers and that pain, fear, anger, worry, anxiety, and trauma into strengths, taking the lesson from it and leaving the pain. We are not taught when we're young. We are taught by what we see. Think now if you have children, if you're older and you have children, okay? You can be young and have children. So anyway, if you have children, and even if not, try to put yourself in this scenario that you realize that your children, or that children in general, really are sponges. They soak up what we say, our mannerisms. They'll pick up us cursing and we think it's cute, or we're like, oh no, whatever your parenting style is, no judgment here. I curse like a sailor. But anyway, like, they pick up everything we say and we do. So when they see us, or like our parents fighting, and the mom, and maybe mom's being abused a little bit, and she doesn't say anything, she doesn't do anything, you just maybe see a couple tears scroll down the streaks, and she keeps it rolling, she keeps it moving. What is that teaching you? What is a father that doesn't ever get in touch with his emotions teaching you? Especially the son. The mother is more connected to the mother energy. I mean, the daughter will, the female will be more connected to the mom. The male will be more connected to the dad, naturally, because you share a similarity of that fact of same gender. However, it's not always the case, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? So, shadow work is going in and going, okay, I have buried a lot. What's buried? What is like stopping me? So, it's about diving into your own thoughts and actions and your own motivations and your triggers. It's just really about self-reflection, okay? Taking the things that held you back, your fears, anxieties, and turning them into knowledge and power, like I said. We all have trauma. We all have limiting beliefs in ourselves and in society, other people, whatever. We all have things that we fear. We all have things that we were conditioned to believe. Maybe you were conditioned to believe a certain faith, and now you don't believe everything with it. It may not completely align with you, and so you have that struggle. The conditioning that we have when we're younger, if we don't agree with it as we age and we get older, and that could happen as early as our preteen years, we can just not conform. An example is, and I said, I'm going to be very personal and private. I'm going to show you how I worked through some shadow work today, or I'm going to talk to you about it. But with that, my mom, one second. So I lived with my mom most of my life until I was about 13. And my mom was not prejudiced, racist at all, okay, at all. And I wasn't either. I modeled that, I sponged that up. But when I had to go live with my dad, he was incredibly racist, But I already was formed already, and I didn't align with that, okay? So did I have some triggers because of it? Because I just couldn't understand, and still to this day I cannot understand the hate. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That's not what we're here for. But we all have things that we're conditioned to believe and may have inner turmoil because of this, because of those limiting beliefs, okay? So what are some ways that you can do shadow work? Okay, now that we understand fully what shadow work is, it is us, that dark part of ourselves hated, it's our pain, right? And a lot of people tell me, that they're afraid of healing and doing shadow work. And I totally 100% understand that fear. I was too. And I still will wrestle with it. Like certain things I just don't want to work through. That's okay. But there are things that you are ready to face and can work on healing and get to the bottom of. Like I said, a layer at a time. Some layers aren't as deep and heavy and difficult to go through as others will be. And you're driving that car, you're driving that bus, so you can take off whatever layer and work on whatever layer you want to work on, okay? So that's the beauty of it. You're you're the conductor of the train, okay? Y'all know I'm the queen of analogies. Okay, so it's not hard to do shadow work, yet it is, okay? The two things really you need to start shadow work is to self-reflect. You have to be, here's the thing, you have to be 100% honest with yourself. When you want to start doing shadow work, you need to make a pact, an agreement, or whatever with yourself. Talk to yourself, your higher self, whatever, and go, look, listen up, Cupcake. We are going to be 100% transparent and honest with ourselves, no matter what. We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what it is, why, If I'm being petty, if I'm being irrational, I need to face that. I need to face my stuff and what other people did. Remember, we play a role in a lot of things that happen to us from other people, and we have to see that as well. We have to open up and see it all. We have to take ourselves out of it, learn the lesson, because we're really just going through and going, what lesson did that try to teach me? Or what lesson did I learn from that? Well, I learned not to trust people. I learned da 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 da, right? Whatever you learned, good or bad, you need to like understand that. So self-reflection and then journaling. That's the thing that a lot of people don't like to do, but it is incredibly powerful. Okay, why? Why is it powerful? Because it helps you focus on something other than just tunneling in the thoughts, because you have to put something on the paper. So, journaling. I'm sure you've seen, if you follow me at all on Facebook or anything, or in the past in groups that I've ran or whatever, groups that I'm in now, you'll see me put shadow work prompts for people to try and to do. Okay? So, here's like the first question you could ask yourself, okay? Check in with how you're feeling, especially if you're going through it right now. You're maybe feeling frustrated, lonely, depressed, angry. So do the statement, I'm feeling bitter. Why do I feel this? You have to come to the understanding of why. Why am I doing this? Why am I angry? Okay? So this can help us realize that, we may no longer feel this way. Okay? A lot of things that we hold on to for like years. There's things I've held on to. I just turned 50 in July. So there's a lot of things that I held on to for 20, 30 years. And when I really did this inner work and asked these questions why on these certain things that were hard for me to heal from, I'm like, I don't even feel that way anymore. I get why that happened, and I allowed that to happen. I could have done that. Okay, I could have done that, so I could have not had that experience. Or, there's nothing I could have done in that time, and I need to understand that too. There's nothing I could have done. However, they are the ones that are broken, and blah, 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 blah. So when I did shadow work, because I have a really difficult upbringing and past, almost to the point where it could be unbelievable. And I keep saying this for a couple years now, but I'm trying to write a book about it. It's just difficult to write all of it down. Even after you heal from it, who wants to just talk about it in depth to have it in a book? But anyway, I had a really good relationship with my father when I was single digit ages, not talk back ages. When I became a teenager and had my own views and all of that, we didn't always align, and he was very controlling, very narcissistic, and very abusive to everybody around him. And so, long story short, we had a falling out, and more than once. And I recently, this past year, healed that father wound. And I had to ask myself questions like, why am I so angry? Where does my deep anger come from? And I already knew the answer to that. It comes from my father. It was passed down to me, his anger for his life and how horrible and his life was, that he has ridden that wave of anger rather than compassion and understanding of pain of others. It's when you have a lot of pain and trauma and stuff when you're young, you have two choices. You can either choose to understand pain and not want to inflict it on other people, or you can choose to see it as it's you against the world and it's everybody else's fault, and you're just going to hurt people because you're hurt. They are less than because they hurt you. they mean nothing to you because they hurt you, and you become angry rather than compassionate. Okay, so my dad went that way. He was adopted. He wasn't wanted. He was abused by his adopted father, almost killed. So how would that make you feel? Angry, right? Hurt. So anyway, I realized that bigger picture about how it must have felt to be adopted, and how that could have turned from hurt to anger, and how my father slitting my throat with a knife could have, um, hurt me, hurt him and made lasting damage on him. And it doesn't excuse his behavior, but it gets me to understand that because he never sought to heal from it, that it only got worse and worse and worse. And it was that understanding that I was able to take the anger away. I dropped it. That generational anger that transferred on to me, I don't feel that anymore. And let me tell you, I had it bad. There's one time I got in my brother's face one time, and I was just like my father. I sounded like him. I knew my body was reacting like him. I knew that was like a generational thing. So understand that generational stuff can come too. So, listen, we can get really deep in this, but basically, I want you to know that, when you do shadow work, also, you need to take a break. You cannot do shadow work consistently all the time. It is hard work. Remember the triangle I said. So maybe talking to a therapist can help, sift through some things and some emotions and give you some tools to help you comfort yourself when you're going through this difficult time of healing. I'm sorry that you have to go through this to heal, but this is what we signed up for. If you're spiritual and you're here, you understand that we signed up to have these lessons. So let's learn them and get rid of them once and for all, and peel back that onion layer and fry it up in a pan or something and forget about it once and for all. You know what I mean? So last thing, okay, doing shadow work releases stress in the body, like I said. So don't do it all the time. Make a pact with yourself that you will let things go once you've worked through it. Once you've worked through it, it's a non-issue anymore. Even tell yourself, I give myself permission, I let this go. This is no longer an issue, we've healed from it. And boom, we move on, okay? Exercise self-grace, forgiveness, compassion for yourself in these times of healing, and always self-care. So also too, some tools, if you're into crystals, my top 3 that I love using while I am doing shadow work is black tourmaline for grounding. Okay, forget the nails, I gotta redo them, my bad. Like any female don't know that. Then I have howlite. Howlite is good for balancing the emotions. And because I have PTSD from everything I've gone through, I always usually wear a howlite bracelet. Okay, so howlite is good for balancing and especially helping kind of quell that anger, especially if you haven't gotten it under control yet. I love selenite because selenite is good for cleansing, cleansing your energy. So I love to cleanse my energy when I do Reiki on myself. And even if you don't do Reiki, you can use selenite and just hold it to help cleanse you. Okay. Palo Santo is good for helping to raise your vibration, and sage is good for releasing the negativity, because when you do shadow work, you can release that vibration into your home, and you may feel it for a couple of days, and you may feel sad after you do some shadow work for a couple of days, but you're going to be working through it and realizing what the lesson is, and then you're going to come back and go, okay, now I can let it go. Quick tip, you don't have to burn sage at the top like this. You can pull out pieces and burn it that way, especially if you're not wanting to like burn it for a long time. That's kind of how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to just pull off a piece. But either way, just a tip. Okay. All right. I hope that you learned something from this today about shadow work. Um, you know, real quick, some shadow traits I didn't go over last real quick because I feel that these are important, okay? Because you may have them, all right? And this will let you understand more about the shadow self, all right? So, anger outbursts, fits of rage, envious or jealousy, manipulative or being exploitive of others, being selfish or self-centered, obsessed with your appearance and how others perceive your appearance and how you look, you being arrogant and egotistical, being intolerant, just never wanting to hear anybody's side on anything. You know it, you know it's right. I'm not trying to hear all that. That right there, that's trauma right there. That's something within you that needs work so that you don't keep putting up that wall like, judgmental, real gossipy, okay? Being very defensive a lot. And people are going, why are you so defensive? I'm just asking you a question. And you look back later and go, why was I so defensive? Understanding your triggers is a huge thing in shadow work. When you know what triggers you, you can find the root and the source of what it is. Pull out the weeds and the roots of stuff that doesn't work for you, recognizing them, so that so that you can plant those beautiful flowers in your spiritual, energetic garden, okay? Being overly competitive and just really stubborn also. So if you have some of those traits, one, acknowledge them and realize that they need to be worked through, okay? We are not meant to be hateful, cruel, arrogant, judgmental people to each other. We are meant to be healing and help each other on our journeys. That's what we're meant for. We're not meant for all this evil and negativity. We're not. Our souls and our bodies can't handle it. That's why we're all so depressed. We see it in the news. We see it in the TV. But anyway, I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions about anything I've said or anything about shadow work, please comment below. Follow me on all my platforms. If you need a reading, I got you. Much love and blessings. Stay blessed, not stressed.